Two Chairs No Waiting, episode number 701, Planning for Mayberry Days. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the fine folks over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Hey, it's time to start thinking about Halloween, believe it or not, so head over and get you an Old Man Rimshaw's print. That's right, you can hang it over your mantle, and the eyes don't move, but you could figure out a way to make them. Whether they move or not, it'll be a lot of fun to have around the house, and it's probably just be the lighting. Anyway, while you're there, you might also want to check out the Mayberry Puzzle Book for Season 1. Great puzzles in there. Head over to weaversdepartmentstore.com and just check out everything. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners just like you. The executive producer of episode number 701 is Mark Copeland. So, Mark, thank you for being executive producer. And thanks to all my patrons at patreon.com/2chairs who help support the podcast too. Thanks to all of you guys. I really appreciate it. Folks, who am I? I'm Alan Newsom, the host of Two Chairs No Waiting. And I always enjoy spending time talking about the Andy Griffith Show and visiting with everybody. This may be the last show I do for a few weeks live. I'm doing a live show. We do them on Monday nights, but you can still come by on Monday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and we'll have an episode that comes out throughout the month of September. But I'm about to head off to film Mayberry Man, the series. That's right. So I'm leaving a week from today, actually, as I record this. It's a Monday. It's the holiday, Labor Day holiday, as I record it. And I'll be heading up to Indiana to begin filming the Mayberry Man, the series. So hope you guys have seen Mayberry Man, the movie. And if you enjoy it, hopefully you'll enjoy the series as well. So today, though, I really wanted to talk about, there's always people asking me about Mayberry Days. You know, what do I do? When do I do this? What do I do that? So I like to do these podcasts. I've done some in the past, but it's kind of a guide to Mayberry Days. Now, if you've never been and you would like to go, it's going to be hard to get a hotel room at this point late. Here we are already in September of 2022. But you might be able to find a place to stay. And if you can, you could head to Mayberry Days in Mount Airy, North Carolina. And I know you would love it. So we're going to talk about that. We'll do some trivia if we have time. And we're going to hear from SpiritWalker with returning to Mayberry as well. So let's get right on into this about Mayberry Days. So Mayberry Days is held the last full weekend of September every year. So you can always count on it being the last full weekend of September. This year in 2022, it's going to be the 19th through the 25th of September. And you can always find out information about Mayberry Days too by going to mayberrydays.com. Really hard to remember. mayberrydays.com. Mayberry Days is, it's sponsored and run by the Surrey Arts Council, right there in Andy Griffith's hometown of Mount Airy, North Carolina. And it's definitely, the website has all kinds of great information on there about Mayberry Days. It's fun. Mayberry Days is, I think, fun for the whole family. It's got activities and all kinds of things for fans to enjoy as they just spend time in the town that Andy Griffith himself grew up in. Now, if you're trying to plan to go, if you want to get a good hotel room there in Mount Airy, you're going to have to try to do it pretty early in the morning, as Barney would say, because it's not easy to find a room during or around Mayberry Days. Okay, it's just tough. Not right there in Mount Airy anyway. You might be able to find one in an adjacent town, but there are a lot of events going on that require tickets. Now, I will give you an example of this year's events because they've started. Mayberry Days used to just be Friday and Saturday and a little bit on Thursday as well, I guess. So Thursday's the golf tournament, and then Friday and Saturday were really Mayberry Days. That's when it actually occurred. Now it's kind of become the whole week. It starts on Monday and goes all the way through Sunday of the week of Mayberry Days. So there's a lot of events that require tickets. But there's some, I'll get to them, but there's some that don't require any tickets. You can go and see on Monday nights, there's the Mouth of Mayberry. John Floyd, he does a comedy routine. These all require tickets, and you would have to purchase the tickets. You can purchase those if you go to mayberrydays.com. They're going to be showing murder in Coweta County. They're going to have Producer Dick Adkins will be there presenting memory. And this year's presentation will be in memory of Gary Nolan, the director of that movie. The producer, Dick Adkins, will be there. Dick's a wonderful man. He'll tell you stories about working with Andy Griffith, and you'll get to see this movie as well. It's a lot of fun. They have and that's, by the way, on Tuesday. I shouldn't even tell you days. Just go to mayberrydays.com if you really want to see this information. It's all there under the shows link, and you should be able to find that almost any year. They got Motown Legacy. The Legacy Motown Review is what they're actually called. They'll be doing shows on Tuesday. And then the Mayberry Effect, the movie, the documentary film will be at the historic Earl Theater on Wednesday at around noon. So that's something you can do. And John Floyd, the Mouth of Mayberry, will be doing another show on Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoon at 2:00 as well. Now we're starting to get into some stuff that some of the podcast folks might really enjoy. Randy Turner will be there. He's going to be presenting, it's called The Andy Griffith Show and Famed 40 Acres Back Lot. So Randy Turner is going to have a presentation about that. You guys have heard him giving his reports here every year. Mayberry History, this week in Mayberry History. He will be there providing this wonderful thing. Randy does a great job, so I know you would enjoy it. They're going to have another showing of Murder in Cowley County. The Embers will be performing. Then Ronnie Shell has a show. Ronnie Shell, you'll remember, was Duke Slater on Gomer Pyle. He was also on 2 episodes of The Andy Griffith Show. He's presenting Andy, Don, and Jim, My Memories of 3 Mayberry Legends. So he'll be doing that. I'm sure he'll throw in some comedy there as well. T. Graham Brown will be at the Mayberry Days buffet dinner and entertainment. That's after the golf tournament on Thursday. He's going to be there. So if you'd like to come to the golf dinner and have a great meal and be entertained by T. Graham Brown and be able to meet the cast members who are going to be there, I'll list those off in a few minutes for this year. And I want to say, even if you're not going in 2022, this gives you a pretty good rundown of the type of events there are every year, pretty much. The Band of Oz will be performing over at the Blackman Amphitheater on, I believe, on Thursday. Karen Knotts will be performing her Tied Up in Knots, a book talk. She's going to be doing that on Friday at around 11:30 a.m. So that'll be Friday of Mayberry Days. She'll be over at the Earl Theater. So these are, you can plan your week here by heading over to mayberrydays.com and you'll get this information. And Doug Dillard and his tribute band, basically the band, the Dillards, the Doug Dillard tribute band. It'll be Rodney Dillard and the Dillard band doing it. And they're also going to be dedicating this year's to Maggie Peterson, Charlene, who passed away earlier this year. And that's going to be Friday at 1:30, I believe at the Andy Griffith Playhouse. So look at all these different options of things you can do. T. Graham Brown's going to be doing another show on Friday at the Earl Theater at 3:30 in the afternoon. Elvis himself, well, Michael Hoover, Memories of Elvis show. He's going to be performing on Friday at 7 p.m. at the Earl Theater, and you can get tickets for that. This year, brand new for us, something new. Randy Turner's is new this year, but also we're going to have Daniel Roebuck. Now, Daniel, he played Cliff Lewis, a lawyer on Matlock. He was on Matlock with Andy Griffith, obviously. So he's going to do a presentation of what it was Andy Griffith. And I am looking forward to that. I hope I get to see it, because this ought to be a great one, guys. So, something new and something fun. And it'll be fun to see Dan Roebuck. He was a huge Andy Griffith fan even before he was on Matlock. So, he became even, I guess, more of a fan from working with Andy. And then they're also going to have Katie Dill Trio does a Crazy for Patsy Cline will be at be performing. We got Tim White, formerly of the VW Boys, who I also often play their music. It's going to be him and Troublesome Hollow tribute to Mayberry show on Friday at 9:30. See all these things you can do. There's so many things. You got to kind of pick and choose which ones you want. This next one, Professor Brower's lecture, I definitely recommend. That'll be on Saturday at 2 p.m. And this year they're going to have a guest Ruta Lee, and it's going to be called A Time to Remember Betty. So they're going to be having a little of both of that, I believe. So definitely something you would want to check out with Ruta Lee. And they're also going to have Jim Clark and Tim McAfee and Tanya Jones are going to be sharing stories about Betty. So, wow, this should be a great event. So definitely set your calendars for that one for Friday to hear in every Mayberry Days. Make sure you go to Professor Brower's lecture. They're awesome. You've seen many of them here on the podcast, and you can go live and see them. They're going to have Mayberry Melodies on Saturday at 2 o'clock at the Andy Griffith Playhouse. So there's that if you can't go to Professor Brower's. And then to kind of wrap things up for the Mayberry portion of it, we got Colonel Tim's Talent Time at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. And that's always, you never know what's going to happen at Colonel Tim's. I think it's always a great show. I recommend you try to go to that if you get a chance, and you'll get to see all the tribute artists, the stars that were there for the weekend. They'll all be at that event. Then also, I guess, alternate programming. They're going to have Wildflowers, the Women of Country Music. They'll be over at the Earl Theater. So that'll be at the 7:30 on Saturday night. And then Mayberry Melodies is going to have a gospel show. The Lisenby family, they're going to be doing a concert on Sunday at 6:30. So, all right. So that gives you just a little bit of a rundown of the different kind of events that go on at Mayberry Days. Now, this particular year in 2022, we're going to have these cast members are going to be present. We're going to have Ruta Lee, as we mentioned. She was Jean Boswell and Darlene Mason. She played two different characters. Hey, Andy, it's that college kid, that one. And also when Andy went to Hollywood, she was the starlet that he got his picture made with that Helen got mad about. It was a color episode. Hopefully you've seen it. Of course, Rodney Dillard, he's there. He's the darling boy that plays the guitar. Ronnie Shell, I mentioned earlier, he was Jim Martin and Bernie the Furrier on the Andy Griffith Show. And he also was Duke Slater, Corporal Duke Slater on Gomer Pyle USMC. Great guys going to be there. Dennis Rush has been a pleasure to get to know over the years. It is so fun. I'm so glad he's going to be there with us again this year. And then Margaret Carey, wonderful, sweet lady, wonderful lady. Of course, she was Helen Scobie and Bess Muggins. Oh, I should have mentioned that Dennis Rush, if you don't know who he was Howie Pruitt's, Opie's buddy, that did the newspaper with him. You remember that? And he was also trying to sell Miracle Salve. He was in a lot of episodes, but he's awesome. And Margaret is great as well. Helen Scobie, Bess Muggins, she was there in the Christmas episode. That was her. And then we got Karen Knotts, Don Knotts' daughter. As I said, she's going to be there doing her show, but she was also a part of Mayberry. Now, you may not remember that, but she was on Return to Mayberry, the movie. She was Opie's secretary, receptionist, I'm not sure of the right thing, on the Return to Mayberry. If you watch Return to Mayberry at some point, you'll see Karen. And, of course, I've mentioned Daniel Roebuck. He'll be there. He was Cliff Lewis on Matlock. So that's his connection to Andy Griffith, not to the Andy Griffith Show, but Andy Griffith. We got Dreama Denver is going to be there this year. Dreama is Bob Denver, who played the second Dud Wash. She's going to be there, and she is a super sweet lady. She'll have stuff of Bob Denver that's from Gilligan, too. So if you like Gilligan's Island, maybe you'll enjoy that. He's a little more known for that than he is Andy Griffith Show, but he was on the Andy Griffith Show, right? Dick Atkins, he was the producer of Murder in Cowley County with Andy Griffith and Johnny Cash. And then Bettina Link will be there as well. And she's the widow of Andy Griffith's manager, Dick Link, Richard Link. Did you see Richard O. Link at the end of every episode? That's his wife of many, many years. And so she will be there. She's coming all the way from out in Hawaii. Hawaii is where she's from. So these are the kind of lineups we have pretty much every year. And so no matter what year you're planning to go to Mayberry Days, these are the things you need to kind of think about that you want to do. So you got to get you a hotel room as early as possible. You start looking for a hotel room so that you can book your room and get in there. Lucky for me, I get to stay at the Mayberry Motor Inn. I've been staying there since 1993 and I've never missed. And so it's very hard to get a room at the Mayberry Motor Inn, but there's a lot of other places that are very nice that during Mayberry Days you can get there. The Motor Inn, you need to stay there when you come to the Mayberry meetup and some of the other Mayberry events, or if you're just driving through Mount Airy for some reason, it would be great. All right. So as I mentioned, I'm going to go through a few more things here just so you're aware of them. So during Mayberry Days, there's the Mayberry Days tickets and information booth. Now you will find that right outside of the Andy Griffith Playhouse. It's a I don't know what you call it. A tent. It's not a tent. It's one of those covers, an awning thing, that just got the 4 legs and then the tent cover on top. I don't know what that's called. Tent. A tent with no sides, but that's what you'll see there. And they'll have a sign up that says Mayberry Days information. If you have any questions during Mayberry Days, you can go there and they will be able to help you. They'll be able to sell you tickets if there are any available, because some of these events sell out. So if you want to go, you might want to go to mayberrydays.com and go ahead and try to find the show and get your ticket to that show so you're going to be in. All right. So they'll be there. And another thing you want to do when you're in town is to find out everything that's going on, because you'll be able to keep up with everything if you do this. There's a newspaper, or I guess a lack of better word for it. It's called the Mayberry Confidential. The current one is not out yet. It usually comes out like right when Mayberry Days starts, but you will be able to see it on mayberrydays.com. There's a link to it in the About section. You'll be able to see the Mayberry Confidential. And you can go and see it right now. Last year's issue is still there. If you'd like to go look at it, you can look at each page by page. But when you get to Mount Airy and you're over at the Mayberry information booth, pick up a Mayberry Confidential and it'll have answers to all kinds of questions, and all the schedule of every event will be there with a brief description of what each event is. It's your guide to Mayberry. So when you're there, don't ask Floyd and Barney and Goober and all the tribute artists. Don't ask them what time is such and such, because what they have to do is look in the Mayberry Confidential and give you the answer. So you'll be able to find out the answer by yourself if you use the Mayberry Confidential. Definitely something you want to pick up. There's a lot of really cool things going on around there too that I haven't even mentioned. There's Mayberry Paints. That's right. You can, on Thursday, if you're at Mayberry Days, you can actually be a part of going in and they will teach you to paint. You go in there and they do like you actually get a canvas and you paint a picture. So that's something that you might want to do if you're an artist or want to be an artist. The Mayberry Days Mayor's Proclamation is on Friday at about 8:30 in the morning. That's a wonderful time. That's free, that you can come out. You can sit there. You'll see all the cast members and all the special guests that are going to be there. They will be at that event. So you'll be able to see them and take pictures of them from afar, at least. You can't come up onto the stage and get around them too good, but if you get there early, sometimes they'll be mingling around, talking to the people in the crowd. So that's a possibility of something you might want to try to do. Then there's also, this year, they're going to have a celebration of Betty Lynn, and that's going to be at the Earl Theater at 9:30. So the proclamation will run from about 8:30 to 9:30. So it's, but Betty's celebration of her life will be free, a free event. But I'm sure the seating is limited, so it's going to be hard to get in there. So make plans as you will. So Betty was a wonderful lady. There are guided tours of the Andy Griffith Playhouse and auditorium and backstage. There's guided tours each day, and it just costs you $4 a person if you want to go and do that. They'll give you all the amazing history of those locations. There's autograph sessions where you can get autographs from the special guests that are there. Now, that would be, of course, Ronnie Shell, Dream of Denver, I think Daniel Roebuck will probably be signing autographs. Ruta Lee, they'll all sign autographs. I'm leaving off people, I'm sure, but all the special guests pretty much will be signing autographs. And it doesn't cost anything to go in there, but if you want to get an autograph or pictures and stuff, you've got to pay for the picture to get, but they'll have them at their table, and it's not unreasonable. So go in there and check it out while you do it. You can also do the pickle toss, always sponsored by Mount Olive Pickles. On Fridays, they'll be having a pickle toss for sure, and you can win on both, I guess, Friday and Saturday, looks like. But you can win pickles from Mount Olive in the pickle toss on Friday. So definitely go and check those out. They may do them on Saturday too. I'm not sure, but that'll be right outside the Andy Griffith Playhouse. So go and check that out. On Saturday, they have the Mayberry Days Parade, where you can go and just enjoy yourself with all the folks in town and watch the parade. It's always a lot of fun. People have fun. And there's a silent auction from the Who's Been Messing Up the Bulletin Board chapter. And it's all raises money for supporting Story Arts Council and Mayberry Days. So it's been going on for years now. And this year it's going to be featuring several personal items that were Betty Lynn's. So go and check it out and bid on the things. And you could take something really special home with you when you leave Mayberry Days. So then there's the annual Andy Griffith Show Rewind Watchers Club meeting. That'll be Saturday. Again, check out the Mayberry Confidential. It'll give you all these information about these amazing events. There's free events like the Minuteman Youth Trivia on Friday, followed immediately by the World Championship of the Andy Griffith Show Trivia. Now, that is a sight to behold. Definitely something. So that's at 3:30 and 4:30. So come and check that out on Friday. The auction on Saturday at 11, right after the parade. The Who's Been Messing Up the Bulletin Board auction with featuring Betty Lynn stuff. On Saturday, they're also going to have a Mayberry Days whistling contest, the championship there, and Mayberry Idol at 2 p.m. Again, all kinds of stuff. All that information is available there. And then going into Sunday, they've got a Mayberry Chapel service that you would definitely enjoy seeing, and a great concert by the Lisenby family on Sunday evening, if you're still going to be in Mount Airy. Friends, there is so much to do during Mayberry Days. I'm worn out by the end, but that gives you just I realize that's not very brief. It's 20 minutes long here of me trying to tell you what goes on at Mayberry Days, because so many people write me and ask me, well, what should I do? Pick your poison there. There's so many wonderful things to do. I do recommend Colonel Tim's if you can go to Colonel Tim's. I definitely recommend that. Go to see and support these amazing cast members who are going to be there with us. Ronnie Shell, Daniel Roebuck is going to be there. Go to see their shows. Karen Knotts, Rodney Dillard. Go and see all their wonderful shows. It's definitely something you're going to really enjoy. But if you can't afford to go to everything, pick out the one you really want to go the most to and go and just have a good time, because that's really what it's all about. But you don't have to spend a lot of money to go and have a good time. You can do a lot of free things there too. Go to mayberrydays.com and you'll be able to find out. All right. So let's do some trivia. I had some trivia. This is going to be a little bit longer episode, I guess, because I'm talking too much, but let's do a little bit of trivia here. So here's some background music from the BW Boys, actually. There we go. So we got 10 trivia questions. If everybody's ready, chat room. The chat room, I hope, is ready. I'm going to look and see how they're doing during this contest. The chat room, if you'd like to be a part of the chat room, you can join us on Monday nights when I record the show live. And you can watch me recording it and, of course, hear me as well. And you can join into the chat room that I'm referring to and just visit and have a good time. All right, so let's go. Question number 1. Are you ready? All right, so get your pencils out. Well, you don't have to get your pencils out. This is for fun. There's no contest, but it's just get you ready for Mayberry Days. All right, you ready? All right. Who burned down his own barn and tried to blame it on Opie and his buddies? Who burned down his own barn and then tried to blame it on Opie and his buddies? All right, you got it? Last read, and then I give you the answer. Who burned down his own barn and then tried to blame it on Opie and his friends? Well, that was Jubal Foster. Jubal, 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 Jubal. All right. Question number 2. What sisters did Opie say had a flower making machine in their hothouse? What sisters did Opie say had a flower making machine in their hothouse? All right. The answer is, to what sisters did Opie say had a flower making machine in their hothouse, their where the flowers are growing? It was the Morrison sisters. The Morrison sisters. All right. So I need to give credit. The credit to this week's trivia questions is from Lori. So Lori sent these in, and I want to thank Lori. If you've got trivia questions you'd like to send in, feel free. But make sure the answers are right. All right. So, all right. Let's see. Number 3. Who ran the still in the old Rimshaw house? Who ran the still in the old Rimshaw house? Who ran the still in the old Rimshaw house? Folks in the chat room are getting very specific. It was Clarabelle and Jennifer, the Morrison sisters. Yes. Who ran the still in the old Rimshaw house? It was Big Jack Anderson. That's who it was. All right. Number 4. What moonshiner and his family spent Christmas in jail? Now, you should get at least some of this answer because I gave it to you earlier. What moonshiner and family spent Christmas in the Mayberry jail? Okay. I'm looking at the chat room. They're not answering yet. Maybe a delay. What moonshiner and his family spent Christmas in the Mayberry jail? The answer is it was Sam Muggins. Sam Muggins was the moonshiner that spent Christmas in jail. All right, number 5. Number 5. What moonshiner did Andy ask to turn himself in to his deputy, Barney Fife? What moonshiner did Andy ask to turn himself in to his deputy, Barney Fife? So Andy asked somebody to turn themselves into Barney, one of the moonshiners. What was his name? The answer is the moonshiner that Andy asked to turn himself into Barney was Rafe Hollister. It was Rafe. That's right. Rafe Hollister. Number 6. Jack Prince played Rafe Hollister. However, on another episode, he played a different moonshiner. Who was he? Oh, good follow-up question. Jack Prince played Rafe Hollister. However, on another episode, he played a different moonshiner. Who was he? That's a good one. Good answer. Good question. Last chance here. Jack Prince played Rafe Hollister. However, on another episode, he played a different moonshiner. Who was he? He was Ben Sewell. Ben Sewell was his name. Ben Sewell. All right. Next question. On Aunt Bee the Warden, on that episode, what moonshine family was in jail? Okay. On Aunt Bee the Warden, what moonshiner family was in jail? On Aunt Bee the Warden, what moonshine family was in jail? I'll take the Mr. Potato Set. It was the Gordon Boys. The Gordon Boys. That's right. All right. Number 8. What moonshiner shot at Inspector Case? What moonshiner shot at Inspector Case? I'm not sure this is right. Let's see. Let's see if our chat room gives me. What moonshiner shot at Inspector Case? What was his name? All right, chat room. Come on, give me the answer on this one. What moonshiner shot at Inspector Case? The answer I have, I'm waiting on my, it was that character. It was Jack Prince. It was definitely Jack Prince, but his name was Luke Rayner. Luke Rayner. That's right. Luke Rayner is right. Yep. It was Jack Prince. He played 3 different moonshiners. All right. So he was Luke Rayner. All right. So number 9. We only got one more after this. What 2 moonshiners did the Morrison sisters turn in? Oh my goodness. These are good. I love these. Thank you, Lori, for coming up with these. What 2 moonshiners did the Morrison sisters turn in? All right. What 2 moonshiners did the Morrison sisters turn in? They turned in Ben Sewell and Rube Sloan. Rube Sloan. Those were the 2. Ooh, that was a double question. Good job. So number 10, final question. Final question. What character plays music on a moonshine jug? Come on, everybody's got to get this one. What character plays music on a moonshine jug? What character? I'm trying real hard not to just start talking and saying things. What character plays music on a moonshine jug? The answer is, you don't believe I can get banjo sounds and guitar sounds? Man's entitled to his opinion. It was Briscoe. Briscoe Darling. All right. Briscoe Darling. How did you do, guys? How did you do? I hope you did well. That was a great set of questions. So, Lori, I'm not even going to try to say Lori's last name because she didn't tell me how to say it, and I am pretty sure I would butcher it. So, Lori, you know who you are, and I thank you. If you'd like to write some questions and just make sure they're right, send them in. You can send them to me at floyd@imayberry.com. Just email them to me, and we will put them on the show as well. That's great. I love those questions. Great job. All right, guys, we are running long. I know that, but it's time to return to Mayberry with Returning to Mayberry and SpiritWalker. So let's go and hear from him as he gives us great information about some amazing connections between the Andy Griffith Show and, in this case, the Andy Griffith Show itself.
Won't you turn on the Andy Griffith Show? Forget all your cares and woes. Sit back, relax, and laugh with friendly folks you know. Take up your fishing pole.
Welcome to Returning to Mayberry with special correspondent SpiritWalker from the Andy Griffith Show Esquire Club.
Thanks, Randy, and hello, Mayberry Spirit Watchers. Welcome to my undisclosed location somewhere deep within the bowels of the Andy Griffith Show Research Laboratories and Tonsorial Parlor, where me and the boys at the lab are about to complete our Mayberry chain by connecting all 32 episodes of Season 1 together from actor to actor, and then connecting an actor from episode 32 back to an actor from episode 1. So let's take a look at our chain so far. We began with Frank Ferguson, who played Wilbur Pine in episode 1, and ended last time with R.G. Armstrong, who played Farmer Flint in season 1, episode 27, Ellie Saves a Female. In 1965, Armstrong appeared as Judd Breyer in an episode of Gunsmoke entitled The Lady. Also appearing in that episode were TAGS alums Hank Patterson, George Brueggemann, Sailor Vincent, and appearing as a hotel guest was Michael Jeffers, who appeared as a rummage sale customer in season 1, episode 28. Also in episode 28, Andy Forecloses, appearing as Bertha Edwards, was Hope Summers. In 1968, Summers appeared as Mrs. Gilmore in the movie Rosemary's Baby, starring Mia Farrow. Also appearing in that movie were TAGS alums Walter Baldwin, and appearing as a woman in the dream sequence was background actress Pearl S. Cooper, who appeared as a townswoman in season 1, episode 29. Also appearing in episode 29, Quiet Sam, Appearing as Quiet Sam Becker himself was William Shallert. In 1958, Shallert appeared as a character named Henderson in the thriller Cry Terror. Also appearing in that movie were Future Tags alums Jonathan Hull, George Brueggemann, Sam Harris, Michael Jeffers, Bert Stevens, and appearing as Dan Pringle was Barney Phillips, who appeared as escaped convict Eddie Brooke in Season 1, Episode 30. Also in Episode 30, Barney Gets His Man, appearing as a shop owner was Norman Levitt. In 1958, Levitt appeared as the general store clerk in the movie The Left-Handed Gun, starring Paul Newman as Billy the Kid. Also in that movie were Future Tags alums John Daner, Denver Pyle, Paul Smith, Nestor Paiva, Michael Jeffers, Fred Sherman, and appearing as Billy's close friend Tom Folliard was James Best, who appeared as guitar player Jim Lindsay in Season 1, Episode 31, The Guitar Player Returns. In 1969, Best appeared as Charlie Noon in an episode of Gunsmoke entitled Charlie Noon. Also in that episode was none other than Ronnie Howard, who, of course, appeared as Opie Taylor in Season 1, Episode 32, Bringing Up Opie. And now, the clasp on the chain. In 1975, Howard starred as Richie Cunningham in the episode of Happy Days entitled Howard's 45th Fiasco. Also in that episode, appearing as Miss Prism, was Mary Treen, who appeared as Andy and Opie's first housekeeper, Rose, in Season 1, Episode 1, The New Housekeeper. See? Rose kept her promise to visit Opie even after she married Wilbur and left Mayberry, even if it was 15 years later in Milwaukee. So there we have the completed chain. From R.G. Armstrong in Episode 27 to Michael Jeffers in Episode 28, from Hope Summers in Episode 28 to Pearl S. Cooper in Episode 29, from William Shallert in Episode 29 to Barney Phillips in Episode 30, from Norman Levitt in Episode 30 to James Best in Episode 31, from James Best in Episode 31 to Ron Howard in Episode 32, and from Ron Howard in Episode 32 back to Mary Treen in Episode 1. 32 episodes connected by 56 different actors. Wow, what an undertaking that was. I hope you enjoyed watching that chain get put together as much as I enjoyed researching it and putting it together for you. Now, in the next segment, I'm going to feature a link that was sent to me by a spirit watcher just like you. And if you have a link you'd like to suggest, please send me an email at tagsrl55@gmail.com. Or you can contact me on Facebook at the Andy Griffith Show Esquire Club. That's facebook.com/TAGS Esquire Club. I'll be glad to hear from you. And until next time, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And keep spreading that Mayberry spirit. I thank you. It's so fine to spend some time with all these dear old friends of mine. Have a bottle of pop.
All right, folks. SpiritWalker, thank you very much for this, taking the time to put that all together for us. Send him an email if you've got any ideas, and he would love to hear from you. Folks, I am so glad to be here and with you, and just to share things. I feel I need to tell you this as well. There has been a passing in our Mayberry family from the Mayberry Motor Inn, where we hold the Mayberry meetup every year. The lovely and wonderful Alma Venable, who was Aunt B during Colonel Tim's often and could yodel like nobody, passed away on September the 4th, 2022. And she will be greatly missed. There will be services later this week, and so you can check out the moodyfuneralservices.com if you'd like to find out information about it and read her obituary as well. Alma is a wonderful lady. Her grandsons are special people and run the Mayberry Motor Inn, and one of them's even a barber now. So she's proud of them, and we love the whole family. So I just wanted to bring that up and say it. Please keep them in your prayers this week, and going into Mayberry Days. I'm sure it'll be a rough time for them this year, but we just our hearts go out to them honestly and completely. What a wonderful family they are, and she will be greatly, greatly missed. So, all right, folks, just keep a smile on your face and enjoy yourself and go forward. Go out there in the Mayberry world and have a good time. Keep folks in your heart, because folks are special, right? And when they're gone, we're going to remember them and smile and just be glad that we were able to spend time with them. Folks, I am always glad to spend time with you. You can email me if you would at floyd@imayberry.com, but I would love for you to give me a call at 888-684-8415 so I can hear your voice and hear what you have to think. Folks, thank you for being here in Mayberry with me, and we will be back in the near future. We're going to have a few weeks of special reports coming up here for you, and so be looking forward to those, because I'll be out filming the Mayberry Man, the series. So until then, until I get back, y'all have a great time. See you soon. Good night, everybody.